Nathan, we're on an earlier video talking about the history of the GC Index, the journey from 2013 and the origins of the GC Index in the world of work and our response in terms of our scientific research. In this video, we're going to concentrate on how the model, the GC Index model, developed over time, how it grew, and broadly its growth reflects questions, again, from the world of work about our data and what it's telling us, and our response to that. But I think there was a key moment, wasn't there? We got to that point where we had an understanding of game changers. We'd seen that they had characteristics that were consistent with two broad constructs, one to do with imagination, capacity for original thinking, the basis for creative transformational change, and the other one to do with an obsessive nature. We understood that, and I think you'll tell the story here. When we presented at conferences, we almost thought the job was done at that point.
We launched the DNA of a Game Changer 2015, which people can read, the original report. Then we set out to measure it, as you say, and got which culminated in the construct of imagination and obsession. And yeah, we did run some pilots. We had some pilots that we could identify these game changers. And so we started to take that out onto the circuit. And people were interested by it. They're interested. And I remember probably the pivotal conference was with our GC partner and been a long supporter of ours, the TM Forum. And it was with their senior leaders all across their community. So global CIOs, chief technical officers from big telecommunication providers, Vodafone, Verizon, Orange, Bharti Airtel, China Mobile, etc. And I remember we presented this model, and very well received. I had a queue of people, actually, which never really happened before. I had a queue, 5 or 6 of these leaders, and wanted to talk to us about it. And I looked around looking for you, and you weren't there. So I thought, well, where are you, John? You know, we've all these 3 years of work, or some senior leaders looking to talk to us about it, and you were quite happy having a pizza.
I was happy having a pizza.
You were, yeah. But there was one of those individuals, particularly was Pascal, the group CIO of Orange, who said, come up to us and said, look, Nathan, I know I've got these people. I also want to understand these people. But we are Orange and obviously France Telecom, and if we just take this notion of game changers back to my HR group, they would see it as elitist. They would see it as, what happens to the other population? Are we just singling these out and being favourable to them? What does it mean if I'm not high on imagination and obsession? What if I'm low, high, low? What does it mean? To that point, I said, I don't know, Pascal. I'm going to go and talk to John.
Yeah. Well, looking back, it's such an obvious question to ask, wasn't it? And a great prompt. And I think it also, on reflection, it reminds us that there were moments in the journey of the GC Index where it moved on significantly because we were talking to the world of work, because we were talking to individuals like this. And so it was a great question. What does it mean if I'm not high on obsession and imagination? What's that actually saying to us? And I recall we had a sizable database at this point. And you know what I'm like with a database. I like a database, but about a sample of about 4,000. And so that enabled us to answer that question in quite a rigorous scientific way. And it's a methodology that people will be familiar with, but when you've got a database of that size, you'll look for patterns in it. The real challenge, though, is saying, do those statistical patterns have any bearing in the real world? And that's where you brought your wealth of experience to that question of, there may be patterns in this database, but does this map onto the real world? Do we understand these people? Do we identify them? And I recall that process took us to an understanding of not only game changers, but strategists and implementers and polishers, supported by our data, but also supported by our knowledge of the real world and saying, yeah, we think we can identify these folk and what they're like. But then we did another pilot to test that understanding, if you recall, which was pivotal again. Tell that story.
The social housing.
Yes.
Yeah.
South of the river.
South of the river social housing company. South of the river in the UK, London, the UK, because there are plenty of rivers around the world, John. Yeah. But certainly when we're looking at that data, you could see you had some individuals in all the different sort of quadrants, if you will, as we're representing it at the moment. But in the middle, there are a collection of individuals that didn't necessarily, when you spoke to them and you interviewed them, they didn't seek to dominate through sort of ideas or tasks, or as we started to build the model. And they were different, weren't they? They were very different.
Yeah.
And we spent a long time looking at these individuals, because it's quite easy to go, oh, they're in the middle, therefore they're playmakers, which is often some of the cynicism that you get. But obviously, just through the research, it's a lot more than that. And there's a very fundamental, discrete group of individuals that are different.
Yeah. And what was nice at that point is, I think we had a realisation that we were at that point measuring energy for impact rather than, as I'd historically known it, this thing called personality. Yeah. And that was the language that people were using as we talked to them. And these folk right in the middle that I think Playmaker came out of your head because you recognise these folk. What they were describing to us is that their energy came primarily from building cohesion in teams, manifest as inclusive behaviour, collaboration, consensus building, but at the heart of these individuals was a desire to build that sense of whatever it is we're in it together, that sense of cohesion. And that's where the model, that was the final bit in that jigsaw. I remember you getting excited because you thought, I've seen these people in professional services.
Yeah, I think that we'll see the model. So the model, as people watching this video are looking at it now, is still in that sort of squared sort of boxes. And I think we did have something here, but I do remember having a lot of, excuse me for being a bit obtuse, academic conversations as well around a lot of this. And I think what I wanted to shift things on with is, it's not, yes, this is robust, it's science, or it's psychologically coherent, it's underpinned, all the things that academics and business schools would require. And that's great, but I was very keen that I wanted it, that it's accessible enough for the person on the street to be able to understand it. Yeah. And I think that's what we had, those conversations at this point is, yes, this is scientifically proven. Yes, this is academically, psychometrically robust. But can the person on the street understand it and apply it? Yeah. And that's then how the the model came about to make it accessible for everyone. And I think that was really exciting for me.
Yeah, and in an affirming way. I mean, the message is simple, isn't it? It's saying, listen, all of these contributions are needed within an organisation, within a project at particular points in time. Yeah. Recognise where your energy for impact is, and see and value that.
Yep. And then that brings us right up to 2017, pretty much, when we launched the GC Index. Yes. And that's when you dip your and take it out into the market and dip your toe in the water, and is this going to resonate with the market? And thankfully it has so far and continues to do so. And
of course, although the model feels complete, we are continuing to learn huge amounts about it.
I mean, we learn every day, and it's not without our GCologists, our partners, our clients. They push us every single day to push it on, and that's what's been such a great journey. It's, yes, we had this idea, yes, we had this notion, we did 4 years of research, we put it out, but then I think the real development has happened subsequently when people have used it and they've seen how to use this, and how this has been a language that just answers so many questions and drives many possibilities for many people. And that's so exciting. We're constantly learning. We do this video now, it'll be out of date in 2 months, no doubt.
Yeah, indeed. Good. So that's the model. That's where we're up to at this point in time. I'm sure we're talking to people now who will be a safe pair of hands when it comes to applying it in the real world.
Hopefully we're talking to people now that are about to embark on their own GC Index journey as part of the GCologist accreditation as well, and good luck, and look forward to working with you, and of course listening to how you're going to move us on as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good.